Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple days since my last video. Unfortunately, my internet speeds have not been the best. I was using my phone's Wi-Fi hotspot, and apparently, according to Straight Talk, I used too much. So, but I did find that my home internet, which is running at a lightning fast 5 whole megabytes per second, I know it sucks, but thanks AT&T, that's the best they can do. So, but it does load my area. I'm over at the Rosecrans Airport, and it does load my area well enough. I've tried loading some of the more congested places, and it takes a couple of tries. Even sometimes Rosecrans takes a couple of tries. But that's not on the game, that's on my internet. I'm hoping to have some better internet at some point in time. Anyway, rambling. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the game. We're going to fly around just a little bit. I think we're going to kind of play around with some of the flight mechanics of the plane. The first one being like the flaps and stuff. I'll do a couple of takeoffs and landings with no flaps, with, half flaps and full flaps. Just to kind of show you the difference and stuff. I'm actually going to do a full taxi, takeoff, and the whole process and stuff. That's also just to kind of show you just the amount of immersion you can get into the game. Obviously, there's no air traffic control, there's no tower to talk to and whatnot, but we'll kind of play around with that a little bit. So yeah, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to run through like really super basic like pre-flight checklist thing here, because there's only, excuse me, I burped, only so much you can do. So in real life, though, you would, obviously you would check out your aircraft and everything. So we're over here at the Rosecrans Airport. It is, I can't remember what time it was, 8:25 a.m. Thank you. So it's about 8:25 a.m. We've got a nice little sunrise going up here. Everything's got a nice little glow to it. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at our aircraft and everything. So I did notice that they have in fact taken off the N number that was on the side of the airplane. I'd really like to see that put back on. Otherwise it's unregistered and illegal. But we'll take a look at everything. I have also noticed that there is, I think I've said it in one of my previous videos, that the flight control surfaces do not actually move. None of these actually move when you are moving the control stick. Yoke, I guess. But we'll just keep taking a look at here, do our little initial inspection of the airplane. All right, everything looking good. You can even look inside the airplane for those of you who haven't and stuff. There's a little bench area and stuff. That can't be for people. That would be unsafe. You would get hurt. My apologies. I do have a little bit of controller drift. My left control stick. So I'm trying to deal with that. I'm going to have to fix that at some point. Okay, so that's all well and good. So we're in here now and everything. We've checked all of our goodies and stuff. At this point, we would have listened to our ATIS and stuff, gotten our weather information. We'd contact the ground control, November 550 Sierra Romeo, to St. Joe Ground. We are requesting permission to taxi to runway 17 via taxiway Alpha. And they get on there and they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Taxi Alpha and runway 17. Good deal. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and start up our engine here. Get our lights going here. And this first takeoff we'll do, after we taxi all the way over there, will be a no flap takeoff. Okay, so... And we're even going to go down here to the spot on this particular runway that allows you to do a run-up. So we're going to do that as well. So we'll go ahead and pop our brake here. We got permission to taxi, so we're going to give her a little bit of throttle. And you don't got to use your control stick. Obviously, you have your rudder pedals. So we're going to go ahead and start our taxi. The other day I was playing around in this and I landed, and of course this is where the brakes would come into play. but I didn't slow down fast enough, and I tried to turn off the runway, and, well, I rolled the plane. So, but if there was a set of brakes that I could apply, you know, control my speed, that wouldn't have happened. They did put out an update like a day or so ago. No real changes in game mechanics of any kind. They added another mission to the mission mode, and I unfortunately can't get that to load because of my internet connection, so I'm unable to demonstrate that for you today. They did a couple of other things, mainly dealing with the mission modes and stuff, so not a whole lot to show with that just yet. I don't have, my internet connection's not good enough, so sorry. But so we're taxiing, cruising around about 27 knots here. I do wish I had the ability to play some music in these videos. I feel like that would be a little bit better, but I have no idea how to even start the whole process of getting music, obtaining it, and not having copyright issues, so Still trying to figure out the whole wind thing here. I think this now, I believe, is saying it's blowing towards 111 degrees at 5 knots. Sometimes it does seem like sometimes it wants to read that it's blowing from a direction, other times it wants to read that it's blowing to the direction. Other times the direction it's showing makes absolutely no sense. So, showing our current elevation is 600 feet. If I remember right, I think the Rosecrans elevation is like 800 feet. So yeah, this won't be a super flashy video, you know, but just gonna get up there and kind of go through this process of taxiing down the runway here, and we'll do a run up over here in the run up area. We'll head on over to the runway and we'll take off from there. And like I said, we'll do a no flap takeoff this time around. My plan is to get into the pattern, come back around, do a no flap landing, and then we will taxi around. I might, you know, I'll do it real. I'll taxi off the runway properly and taxi all the way back around. So the wind, we're supposed to do it, run up into the wind, so I need to come over here and turn. Parking brake on. Alright, so we are in our run up area. So this is the point. The run up is when you would, you're going to run your engine up. I usually go up, not full power, but just a little bit. So I run my engine up, check all my goodies and stuff. Parking brake is on. We'll check our flaps. We'll go down to half flaps. Half flaps work. We'll go full flaps. Full flaps are good. Back to half flaps. Back to no flaps. Flaps are good. We check our control surfaces. If they moved, I can see them, but they don't move. Nothing. Got all of our goodies. Fuel is good. Lights. Landing lights, but we're not landing. Doing the total opposite. So we'll go ahead and power her back down. Run up is good. So okay. So there's a run up. I'm again not a pilot, guys. I know there's probably a lot more that you would do with a run up, more checks and stuff. But again, there's only so much you can do in this game currently. So, but we're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and assume that traffic is clear. We've got our permission to get on to the runway here. So we'll go ahead, pop the brake, give her a little throttle. I'm gonna taxi over to the runway now. This is the longest part. I know in a lot of other videos I've seen people do and stuff, they usually speed this up, but I don't edit these videos. This is raw. This is you're along for the ride, guys. I do appreciate those who have commented on my videos and enjoyed my videos, and my new subscribers. That's awesome, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm honestly not in this to make any kind of money and stuff. I just really like flying games, and I know that myself, I've always, you know, I always check out the YouTube videos on games just to see if the game's worth it. The developers are doing a fantastic job on this game. They're listening, so definitely worth buying. If you haven't, if you're on the ropes, hopefully these videos convince you. So we're going to go ahead and turn. We're going to line up with center line here. As you can see, we are on runway 17. All right, so we're going to throttle her off. We're going to hit our brake because again we have no brakes to apply. So all right, we're here. We are on the runway. We've got permission to take off. We are on our departure leg, more or less flying into the wind. See, like so. Okay, so east is 90 degrees. This is showing it's blowing at. It'd have to be at 5-6 degrees. So somewhere like that, which maybe it is. I don't know, because I mean they would be in that direction. So again, I don't know how super accurate that is. Anywho. Alright, so no flap takeoff, so our flaps are up. Go ahead and take our parking brake off. We're ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and give her some throttle all the way up here. And we're going to go ahead and do this. On center line. Let's try to. 180, 190, 200, and we're coming up off the ground. I usually get myself up to about 800 feet plus before I start doing anything like putting my flaps up and my landing gear and everything. Got a portion of our map that has not loaded. It's like watching, it's like for anyone who's been around a while, if you've ever seen the movie The Langoliers, that's what that reminds me of. That is a hole in the ground. Go ahead and put our landing gear up. So we're up, heading out near Elwood here. Still need to work on the sensitivity of these controls. Like I said, there's just a lot of dead space there. We're gonna make our left-hand turn. If I remember right, Rosecrance's traffic pattern is a left turn pattern. Probably way too much of a bank there. Not super controlled. We're out over Elwood now. Look back. Yep, that map was definitely not there. Yep. Them Langoliers. If you've never seen Langoliers, it is a cheesy movie, guys, but it is a good watch. It's just one of those. All right, so this was our crosswind leg. We are now turning to the downwind leg. I'm still out over Elwood here. One there. Yeah, still not there. Partly that has to do, I think, with a lot with my internet connection. It does happen occasionally with even with my phone's hotspot that I was using. So, yeah, no, that if that happens when you're if that happens in the middle of your runway and you go and try and land on that, you're gonna fall through it, and that's it. You're gonna have to restart. So, again, that's where brakes would be nice to have. Because I have had a couple times where I've tried to just fly my approach straight in, and there's the end of my runway. But I've tried to, and it wasn't, and I didn't realize it wasn't there. That also happens when your runway is not flat. Some areas with the terrain, the way it picks it up. So, all right, so we're, and the runway's back there a bit. All right, so. We're going to go ahead and drop our gear, and we're going to turn base a little bit. Get an idea of where my runway is. That landing gear creates a lot of drag too, which I know it's supposed to. Like in reality, you would have to slow down a little bit before you dropped your landing gear down and stuff. Going to a little bit. We throttle back just a bit. Like I said, don't throttle back too much because this sucker will drop. Alright, we're going to turn on final. Just a little too much. Now with no flaps, you can't come in quite as high. Just because it's not going to slow you down enough. Can't find my runway. There's my runway, way over to the left. Again, that's where that kind of that draw distance is a bit of a hindrance. Is trying to find that runway. Should have been a little higher. This is not going to be a good landing, guys. This one. I'm way too low. We're going to speed up a little bit. We'll try and save it. We're going to throttle back here. Alright. Coming down, coming down, coming down. As we go hard. Good, actually. Throttle down, and we're touched. That's it. All right. So, like I said, this again is where those brakes will come into play. Being able to apply them to slow myself down a little bit. I find that if I put a little pressure on the ground, on the nose wheel, and it helps create a little drag. That's one thing you learn as you're playing is kind of your power settings and stuff. Like a good idle or a good taxi speed for me is with the end of the throttle there sitting right about where the idle words are. So you can go a little faster. Just and obviously, like I said, with this being based off of, like, I think it's Google Earth is what I keep hearing people say. Having this little camera right here helps to be able to see where your turn actually is. You can see it, it's right here. But with the terrain being flat like it is, it does make it a little more on the difficult side to see. So we're going to taxi off over here to the taxiway. We're going to cruise right back down the taxiway. Get right back on the runway here. We're going to go ahead and assume that we've gotten all full clearance. Everything's checked out. We're all good to go. Don't know what the appropriate taxiway speed is, so maybe it is this fast. I don't know. If you know, tell me in the comments. I'm always up for learning. So this next takeoff we'll go ahead and do. It will be we'll do half flaps. So, right now the wind is working in our favor because when I turn on the runway, I'll be going upwind, so which you're supposed to. permission to get on the runway. We contacted the control tower, all that good stuff. Alright, and we are back again. Alright, put our brakes on here, bring her to a stop. Alright, so this next takeoff we'll do half flaps. So bring her down till you hear the first. You can't go off of this right here because it's got to be. It's almost like when you go past it. Like that's up. If you want half, you got to just below it. All right, so we're at half flaps. All right, so we're good to go. Just gonna go ahead and pop our brake. Get our control stick. Give her a little throttle. So it did feel like the first time around with no flaps, it did feel like it took a little bit longer to get airborne. Like you can't feel it obviously, but you can kind of hear it. Like you can hear the tires on the ground, and you can hear kind of like that choppy sound, and it tends to pop up off the ground a little bit easier. So just kind of like that. So, and I'm getting a little bit more lift. Last time around it did seem like I didn't have a whole lot of lift. I had about the same airspeed, but my lift wasn't nearly as good. So, but that was a good rotation. We got up off the ground here. Does seem like I think we got off a little bit sooner as well. So we need, obviously with flaps, you need less runway. So, going up here, going up here. It looks like the end of the map finally loaded. Well, that's good. That's good. We're at 800 feet, so we're going to throw flaps up. Bring our landing gear up. Altitude here. We're going to try a better landing this time. Alright, so we're going to make our turn, our crosswind turn here. So we can do a little more controlled turn here. Coordinated, yes. I'm going to give myself a bit more of a longer base. So I'll give myself a longer crosswind here. We're going to fly out near the St. Joe area and the Missouri River. Downtown St. Joe area here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn on our downwind portion. Get a look at over my hometown here. Some of our bigger buildings and stuff down in the St. Joe area. Another thing with the flaps and the whole speed thing, obviously in real airplanes you would have markings on your airspeed indicator and stuff when it's safe to put your flaps on. The problem is, in this plane, like I said, you throttle back even just a little bit and airspeed drops. It drops fast. So, But the problem is, if you're going full speed and you kick those flaps on and everything, it's going to pitch you up real high. Like I've just let it ride, and it wants to take you almost vertical. So give yourself a longer base, longer final. About 2,100 feet up. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn on our base. I'm going to drop to half flaps. Drop my landing gear. Now see, this thing usually cruises between 260 and 280 knots, give or take, depending on the wind. I dropped the half flaps and the gear down, and it wants to drop me down to almost 230 knots. This thing starts to sink real bad once you get under 200. So you're almost turning on final here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start our turn. Now, like I said, that's full. I'm still at full power right now, and with that flap, and of course I do have a 6-knot headwind on me though too. But it does. It's wanting to take you down 190 knots. Alright. So, we are on final approach. Half flaps, landing gear is down. Turn our landing lights on this time. Seeing if I can see the runway here. Any luck, maybe luckily lined up with it. Okay, there's the runway. Starting to come into view there. Off to the left of it. Start throttling just a little bit. I think I came in a little too low. Bring her down. Fly her all the way down to the ground here. Throttle back, throttle back, throttle back, throttle back. And touch. Throttle all the way off. Alright, we are on the ground again. Radar on here. So that was our half flap setting. Does feel like there was some more control. I keep coming in a little too low. I need to come up a little higher. But I mean, I guess half flaps would have been smarter to come in a little lower. do is, because this next takeoff, we'll do a standard full flap takeoff, full flap landing. Then when I land, what I'll do is I will bring it to a stop on the runway, and then we will do a quick short field takeoff and come around, land, probably call it a day. So, but as you can see in this game, you know, you can get in there, you can make your laps, you can build, you know, your flight hours in this game and stuff, and just practice, you know, practice your different landings, different takeoffs and stuff. Obviously with the weather, like I said, my internet connection is, if I don't have anything other than like calm, clear weather, it does take a little bit more time to load, or I guess more tries to load it. Sometimes it'll get all the way to the end of the loading, and it'll just kind of stop and hold there for a while. So, unfortunately. Flaps up here, actually. Brakes are going to come into play. I repeat that and repeat that. That and a trim setting. Alright. Turn back onto the runway here. Up again, put the brakes on. Alright. Okay, so we'll put our flaps on full. Pop the parking brake. Alright, and let's make it happen. Full throttle here. Already I can kind of hear that chop, that sound, and it coming up off the ground. Right. And obviously with those flaps, we get a much higher climb rate here, like this. We're at 800 feet, and I want to show you, if I put that flap to half flap, it makes the nose dip a little bit, okay? But I still got back pressure on the U. More, and she dips some more. Okay, yep. And then we throw the landing gear up. Alright, we are good to go. So, that's why I usually give myself some height, some altitude there and stuff, just to make sure, because you don't want to come up off that ground and kick those flaps off and then all of a sudden nose back down. So, alright, landing lights off. We're not landing anymore. Alright, make our left-hand turn again. Use a little rudder this time. Make a little more coordinated turn. Less bank, more rudder. Again, we're going to go out over the St. Joe area again here. We'll give ourselves a nice long base, decent final. If this is your first video you're seeing in my channel, I appreciate you stopping by and taking a look at it. For those of you that are still with me, thank you. I also appreciate it. Turn on the downwind here. But again, I reiterate about the control surfaces and stuff. Like I said, if I push, now it goes. Okay, pull all the way back, and now it starts to respond. Like I said in my other videos, I notice I like simple planes. The controls on simple planes, they're very responsive, very reactive. You start to push down, it goes down. You start to pull up, it goes up. So I like that. So again, I would love to see a sensitivity setting. Maybe some people prefer it this way, maybe some don't. But I would prefer a little bit more responsive controls. Maybe not as jarring, like I don't want it to as soon as it goes like this, but definitely start showing response when I start moving that stick, you know. And again, the trim setting would be nice, and the brakes. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go half laps first. Put my gear down here. We're going to go ahead and turn on our base. Put that back up. The airspeed has dropped considerably. At 219, 217. At this point, we're going to go ahead and go down to full flaps. So we're still at full speed. Because if I start throttling back too much and everything, I won't make it to the runway. So, but having that landing gear down and stuff, that did create enough drag that it didn't want to pitch my nose up super bad. So that's good. Let's see if I can't see the runway. Nope. About 1,400 feet up. We'll go ahead and turn on our final here. Looking for our runway, which I think I see it. Lined up perfectly on this one. Yeah, we did. Look at that. Runway straight ahead of us. Fantastic. We're at a good height. Good little angle here. I like it. I like it. We're going to start throttling her back. Have a bit of a crosswind here. So nothing too much though. My throttle here, keep working the throttle, bringing her back. I'm going to start pitching my nose up here just a hair. Throttle back a bit. Come on down. A little hard, a little hard. All right. Too shabby, not too shabby. She just bounce around a little bit when she lands. Throw my flaps up here. Wait till she gets down to just. And alright, put that brake on. And when I do that, I tend to pull back on the stick a little bit just to help that nose from wanting to pitch over super bad. But that's what I mean by having the parking brake is the only means of stopping this plane. That's an extreme, yeah. So, alright. So, there was our full flap landing. So, we've had 3 landings now. We've had no flaps, we've had half flaps, and we've had full flaps, both with corresponding takeoffs. Now what we're going to do is we are going to do a short field takeoff. So let's zoom in here. I'm about midway down the field right now. I should have plenty of field anyway. So what we'll do is we're going to go to full flaps on this one. I am not taking off into the wind, unfortunately. I do have a bit of a crosswind, but we should be able to pull it off regardless. So at this point, I'm going to leave my parking brake on, and I'm going to throttle up. We're going to let this sucker get up to speed here. I did a short field takeoff in my Area 51 video. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We went and rescued E.T. So, alright, we're ready to go. So I'm going to put a little back pressure already onto the stick. And I'm going to pop this brake, and we're going to see how fast we can get up off this runway. Back pressure. And I am coming off the runway now. A little bit. Hang in there. Come on. Yeah, I should might crash. That is not a goal. Come on, you bastard. Come on. That was not a good short field takeoff. Woo! But we made it. I think I pulled up a little too quickly on that one. Ooh, I really thought I was going to bite it. Ooh, but I didn't. Woo! Probably would have helped if I was taking off into the wind. So, but I didn't. Do a little teardrop here, and we're going to come straight back in for a landing. We'll try that short field takeoff again from the opposite direction. That was not a good one. I made it, but not a good one. I was not happy with that. Alright, so you see I've got a very short final approach here right now. So, drop our gear, flaps. See that wanting to pitch up on me there? Going to try and do, since the wind is not pushing me, I'm going to try and turn around and get into the wind here. So I'm actually going to put my parking brake on here and bring her down. We're just going to turn her around on the runway here. So pop my parking brake here, give me a little throttle. We got the wind facing us. Okay. So we're going to put our parking brake back on again here. We're still on full flaps. We're going to try this again. Alright? This time, hopefully we can still get off the ground and not crash. I'm going to try not to pull back on it so darn hard. Alright, so we'll throttle up. We are going into the wind. Or maybe not. I don't know. See, this is reading like it's, okay, yeah, it's going towards 3 degrees. Okay, so you see what I mean? So, ready? And pop it. We're putting a little back pressure. That's much better. Not as extreme of a climb. And we're off the ground. There we go. Now that was a beautiful short field takeoff right there. Perfect. Taking off 171 knots. And we're climbing. That is fantastic. So it helps when you do it properly. So flaps up, our gear up. Alright, so there we go. We had a nice little short field takeoff right there. That was a good one. I like that. So what we'll go ahead and do is we're going to go around real quick. Do a shorter base, probably a shorter final. Bring her in, we'll taxi, we'll park, we'll call it good. So as it goes to show you, I mean, the flight mechanics are decent. They're getting pretty good. The fact that, I mean, when you take off properly into the wind and stuff, and you know you do it properly, and you don't yank on the stick and whatnot or anything. I mean, you can pull off short field takeoffs, normal takeoffs and stuff. I've been working on trying different maneuvers like the slip and stuff, and I think it kind of works. I'm not super great at it, but that's where I also feel like it would be nice to not have your plane explode every time it like just kind of touches the ground. Just mainly because, I mean, that way if I want to try and perform a slip and I come in and it's not great, okay, well, I mean, the plane's going to be damaged, sure, but it's not going to just explode into a fireball. So we're going to go ahead and go to half flaps. Back just a hair. Turn on my base. Very short base here. Almost just going to make a big U-turn. Go ahead and go to our full flap setting. Runway. Start descending a little bit here. Bounce, nothing too bad. Throw flaps up here. Create lift. So, hopefully I've slowed down enough to make this turn I have. So we're actually going to throw our brake on just a bit here. Taxiway here, or head to the taxiway, so we're leaving the runway. I'm new. Now we're at Rosecrans. We won't be parking over there because that is where the Air National Guard is, and that is where all the C-130s are. We don't want to go over there. We're going over to the general aviation parking lot. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it was insightful. Hopefully you, I don't know, maybe you learned something. If I was way off in everything that I did, hey, let me know. Let me know in the comments. But it was fun, and I enjoyed just getting into this and into my home airport here and just flying, making laps, landing, taking off and stuff. Just practice. So, but thank you for watching. Thank you for watching any of my other videos if you do. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Throttle off here. Turn around. Brake on. And we're here. Alright, we'll shut the engine down. Pumps off. She's refueling. Get my lights off. Wait for the refueling to complete, and refueling is complete. Go out here and take a look at the airplane. This is where we parked. So, but yeah, I do appreciate you for sticking around and watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything else you'd like to see me try in this video, or anything at all, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Developers, again, like I said, I do appreciate you listening and stuff. Again, really could use that brake in this thing. Really could use a trim wheel, and really could use an ability to change that sensitivity and stuff. I feel like it would make landing and takeoffs and maneuvers just that much more easier. But you're doing a fantastic job. I appreciate everything you're doing. I know everyone else is appreciative of it. So keep up the good work. And we will see you all in the next video. Thanks.